sports fans. Okay, let's get into this right here. Yep. The Ravens blow it. The Ravens blow the game, folks. And Lamar Jackson comes in. Can we just stop this guy from coming into the post game? Oh my God, the same ish that he did last season, wearing this bull over his head. What is this, man? What do you have over your head? It's not cold in the presser. Why are you wearing this mask over your head? What are you doing? You look like a lizard. You look like the gecko lizard. And you sound like a little ass kid. You sound like I'm trying to tell you, man, this dude, I don't know, man. I would say something I don't want to say, but man, this dude just acts like a little kid. He's like kid-like. I don't know. I know he's young. He's real young, but still, man. You can't be serious with this dude, man. This guy, I don't know what to say, man. It just, I clowned this dude last season after he lost. They clowned him a couple other times, when he lost during the season, and he keeps acting like this same clown. Like, I don't know, man. Like I said before, he's young, and I'm not trying to say he's got to act 40 years old or even 35 years old in his everyday life. But when you come to the podium, when you come and talk, it wasn't too much what he was saying this time. Whatever. Even though he sounds like a little kid, just the way he talks. He talks like, he just, I don't know, man. He tries to talk like he's a thug from the street, but at the same time, he sounds like a little ass kid. I don't know. He kind of sounds like a John Morant. He don't sound official. He sound. I'm about to do some background on him, man. I'm about to really see his real origins, see if he's really a John Morant, right? One of these dudes who wear, all this. What's he got in his mouth? Platinum teeth or something like that? Silver teeth, gold teeth. I can't keep up, man. Where's all these gold chains? And just, I know that's how Negroes do it. We want to wear gold. I got gold chains. I'm just saying, man. Get this dude. I want to know if he's really a John Morant, right? A studio gangster. One of these dudes that grew up in a middle class neighborhood, grew up with money, and now, well, he's probably been acting like that for a minute, but wants to act like he came from the streets. He don't. I don't know, man. I'm lost with this guy. Last year was his hair looking like Whoopi Goldberg in the color purple. The same hair. Like, dude, do something with your hair. Put some corn rolls in it, some dreads. Do something, man. I'm sick of seeing that. I don't know if he still has it this season, but goodness God, do something. So yeah, they blew it, and he came out with this mask on over his head again, looking like the gecko lizard. And it's just like, I don't know. Like I said, it ain't nothing that he really said that was bad. But the way he talked, it's just like, we got to start some sound bites with this guy. I'm trying to tell you. We got to start some sound bites. And then you wonder why this guy can't be the face of the league. It just, he's got these MVPs, and I don't know, man. Let's see what happens this year with this guy. They started out slow last year, and then they just went on a rampage. I think they lost their first one or two games last season, and then they went on a rampage. They didn't look bad at all during this game. Derrick Henry, he did the fumble, and they looked pretty good. They came out doing what they had to do, and then Josh Allen just went the hell off at the end. You can't really blame Lamar Jackson too much on this one. And he says, he told his boy, he said, yeah, Derrick, you fumbled. Don't look into it too much. I fumbled last year in the playoffs. Whatever, man. I don't know. I don't know what to say about it. You really can't say nothing too much about a first game. A first game don't mean nothing. Like I said, if I remember correct, I know they lost their first game last year, if I ain't mistaken. And I thought they went 0-2. They might not have. But I know they didn't start out good. And then they just went on a rampage for 8 games straight or something like that. They were just like the hottest thing, remember? They're basically unstoppable. And, they, for the Ravens, they're a team just like Buffalo, right? Ravens, Buffalo, Cowboys to an extent. Who else? I don't know. I'm just saying those teams right there. Nobody cares about the regular season. Whatever happens in the regular season, nobody really cares. It's really about the playoffs. So for the Ravens, Buffalo, it's to be seen in the playoffs. Nobody cares what they do in the regular season. And the Cowboys, nobody cares about the regular season. Everybody wants to see what's going to happen in the playoffs. That's just how it is by now with these teams. Nobody cares about that. For the Ravens, is Super Bowl or bust. For the Buffalo, is Super Bowl or bust. It's not really. You don't have to win the championship. We know, Macaulay Culkin, he got to the Super Bowl and lost. So, he don't have a monkey on his back, per se, because he did get there, he lost, and it wasn't even a blowout. It was just one of them things. They did have the ball last, but it was, against all odds. I think they had I don't know, what was it, 30 seconds on the clock, and, they were at their 30 or something like that. So it was, I don't think they were going to be able to score, and they did it. So, but again, the Bengals quarterback, Macaulay Culkin, he went to the Super Bowl. So there's really no excuse for Josh Allen. And I think that's the year they beat Mahomes, if I'm mistaken. Macaulay Culkin did. So there's no excuse for the rest of these guys. And then you got, the Eagle, Hurts. He went to the damn Super Bowl. He's been to the Super Bowl twice. He's been to the Super Bowl twice. I mean, and he won. And he lost by, just... He should have 2 Super Bowls, but he lost by a little bit. And then you have, what's this guy's name? Oh my goodness, I forget his name. Nobody's really talking about him no more. They left him for dead. The Niners quarterback, I forget his name. He went to the Super Bowl. So you have these type of Super Bowl. The Niners quarterback, Macaulay Culkin, he went to the Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts done went 2 times. Who else? We don't need to say Mahomes. Of course, he don't win. Who else am I leaving out that went recently? I think that's about it, right? Yeah, because Mahomes went the other times in the AFC. Hurts went 2 times, and you had the quarterback from the I think that no. Did the Eagles quarter? No, I was thinking about it. Another Eagles quarter. They went in the 2-10s. That quarterback. I can't remember the other NFC quarterback. I already know Tom Brady went in 20. What was it? Well, I consider that 2021. I don't know. Nevertheless, Dak, Josh Allen, and your boy from the Ravens, they have no excuse, man. These guys are winning MVPs, and they just doing their thing. There's no excuse for them not to be going to the Super Bowl. No excuse. Now, you saw Aaron Rodgers. He did his thing. Let's don't get too high on Aaron Rodgers. You owe everybody more than 1 game. And you was playing the Jets. So let's see if this, this dream really can come true. Because right now, it's too early. Yeah, he came in there and did his thing. It's the Jets. It's the Jets. So next week, we have Kansas City. Who lost? Who lost? A lot of people ain't talking about that, right? Kansas City lost in week 1. So you got Kansas City who lost, and they play Philly. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one. We'll see what happens, man. Every year for the NFL is a new year. And you really don't know who is who's the pretenders, who's the contenders, until about week 8. Or whatever you want, week 9, whatever. Halfway through the season, you start to see who's a contender, who's a pretender. That's what you're going to see. And the Lions, they lost. That's why a lot of people, I said this last year. I said, if the Lions don't win this year, remember I said that in the playoffs? I said, if they don't get to the Super Bowl. Remember, last year was their Super Bowl year, because the year before that, they made a strong run in the playoffs and lost. Well, guess what? They didn't make it to the Super Bowl. And I was saying last year they didn't make it to the Super Bowl, so I was like, that's it for them. That's it. The magical ride is over, folks. It's over. And they put up some stat and they said, wow. They said in the last, I don't know, I thought it was like 4 years, Jared Goff has had the most passing yards and the most touchdowns of any quarterback. Wow, that's crazy. More than Mahomes, more than Allen. That's kind of shocking. There's some other good quarterbacks out there. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with that Jared Goff. I just don't think he can take you over the top. In this league, we've been seeing this for a hot minute. If you can't run, you ain't gonna be able to go nowhere. If you do, see, I thought, maybe 3-4 years ago, a lot of these, throwing quarterbacks were getting by because they were great throwing quarterbacks or whatever like that. Maybe they had good defenses and, the Matt Staffords that won a championship, the Tom Brady. We could see that in Tom Brady's last season, that even though he threw for a lot of yards, it wasn't going to happen no more. You had to be able to get out of the pocket and run. So I don't think Macaulay Culkin is going to go back to another Super Bowl. I don't think he got the legs to. I don't think he can run like that. Matt Stafford, he can run a little bit. He can run just enough. He just throws so good. He gets by with not being able to be a running quarterback. Now it's some white quarterbacks out there that can run and get you your yards. Baker Mayfield, he can get you them yards. I seen the quarterback. I forget his name. The quarterback for San Francisco, he can run and get you some yards if needed. We already know about Josh Allen. He's like a damn fullback. Josh Allen is a damn fullback. So it's some white quarterbacks out there that can get you some yards if stuff breaks down. But that's what you got to be in this NFL. You got to be able to run with the ball. Brother, I like the conventional quarterbacks. Okay, that's what I like. Because before we had the conventional quarterbacks with a mix of the running quarterbacks, right? You had your, I would say Warren Moon. He kind of reminded me of a Mahomes. As far as Moon, he really wouldn't run unless things broke down, and then he could kill you when he ran. So you didn't really know if Warren Moon was going to run, and if he took off and ran, you didn't know if he was going to throw while he was running. So he was a passer first. He reminds me of Mahomes. So that I like the more conventional throwing quarterback, because when you do half and half, it can come back to bite you in the playoffs when you got to make those tight throws and stuff like that, because you're always used to running half the damn time, and things start to slow down, and then you looking like Lamar Jackson. You looking like Lamar Jackson. Hell, sometimes Josh Allen too. Josh Allen be throwing them damn interceptions in the damn playoffs like that, because he's always used to running and stuff like that. But I like the old school guys. The Drew Brees. Even Drew Brees can run. Drew Brees can get you them yards sometimes. We remember. But that's what I'm saying. I like the old school quarterbacks where you have, I would say the majority of them was just throwing quarterbacks, and then you had some that could pass real good, and when stuff break down, they could get on a high horse and start running and get you a lot of yards. And then you had your 50-50 quarterbacks that half the time ran, half the time threw the ball. So you had that's what I'm saying. When I was growing up and I was watching football in the 90s, that's just how it was. You had a mix of that, and then the 2000s, it was a mix of that. But in the 80s, not so much. The only running quarterbacks I remember in the 80s, no, I don't know. Maybe, who was it? John Elway, maybe? I don't think Randall Cunningham, did he play in the 80s? Maybe in the late 80s? And I think, didn't Warren Moon play in the late 80s? I think they might have came in the late 80s, if I'm mistaken. But no, you didn't have that many running quarterbacks If I ain't mistaken, let me know. I know you had Doug Williams. He could run. I don't. That's when I started watching football in general, really, like the late '80s and stuff like that. So I don't remember that many running quarterbacks in the '80s like that. But the '90s, that's what I'm trying to tell you. You had half of your the '90s and the 2000s, half of your quarterbacks, half of them was conventional throwing quarterbacks, and then you had some that was throwing and running when stuff broke down. But they wasn't 50-50. They wasn't throwing half the time, running half the time. They just ran when shit broke down. They didn't throw the ball out of bounds like your conventional quarterbacks. Your conventional quarterbacks just threw the damn ball out of bounds when stuff broke down. So you had those that took off and ran and got them yards when shit broke down, and then you had your quarterbacks in the 90s and the 2000s that were half. You know what I'm saying? They half the time they threw, half the time they ran. But they were good throwers and good runners. So yeah, that's just the way it was, man. Now it's getting to, I don't know. It looks like 85% or more of your quarterbacks are running. I would say run throw, right? Yep, they're doing that. They're doing the run throw type of thing. That's what they're doing. Half throw, half run. And then some of them, they do more than that. They do a lot of They do a lot of running more than they do throwing. So that's basically what you got with that, man, in the NFL. But with that, I don't like the way the rules are now. You're going to let these guys, run amok in the field, the quarterbacks, but now you can't hit them. So they act like they're going out of bounds. And you're like, oh, I can't hit them. And you're like, psych, see you later. So the advantage is to the quarterback immensely. So that's I don't think that's a fair game. That's not a fair game. So we'll see what happens this year. It's always the same stuff with these quarterbacks, playing games acting like they're going to go out of bounds. Therefore, I say if you're going to be a running quarterback, they should just be able to smoke you. Not if you're going out of bounds, but if you're just in the field of play, you get smoked. That'll get them back to being conventional quarterbacks. You just get smoked. You get smoked. You take a hard hit. I mean, not when you're sliding. You're gonna get a penalty if you hit them while they're sliding. But man, y'all got to think about these unfair advantages. That these quarterbacks got these days. It's not fair. And Mahomes, he's guilty of that a lot, acting like he's gonna go out of bounds, and he doesn't. And Mahomes is the type of guy you really don't know what to do with him because he can run, throw on the run so good. You just don't know what he's going to do. So you're at a big disadvantage with this guy. And I don't know. Like I said, we're not really going to know about the football season and where everything stands until halfway. Now, if some teams pop out and they're like 0-3 to start, you can forget about that. He ain't making the playoffs. Nope. Unless you're in a bad division where the rest of the teams are like 0-2 and 1-2 or something like that. Yeah, you might be able to make the playoffs. But if you get teams that's just like looking horrible and they got bad records, they're like 1-4 with 5 games. You know what I'm saying? You start with in the 5th game they're 1-4. You already know what time it is. But if you got teams that's like 3-2, 2-3, you don't know what's going to happen there. You got a team that's 3-3, and it's not even halfway through the season. You don't know what's going to happen. Nope, you don't know what's going to happen. We see this every year. We don't know how. We done seen some good teams start out bad, and they start out like 0-2. We done seen this before. They go 0-2, and then before you know it, they're like what? Through 8 games? I don't know. Maybe they're like 5-3. I'm just saying. I done seen it before. Or they end up being 4-4 halfway through the season. So losing 4 games ain't nothing. Hell, you can win a division only losing 4 games, and they end up what, winning 8 out of the rest of their games? I don't know, man. The football is a funny place, and it's so funny. We're going to see the same stuff that we saw last year. A lot of funny business and stuff that don't make no sense. And then when you factor in the whole gambling situation, you start to make sense of this whole thing. You start to make sense of the whole thing. Like, they did something last year, like the punter just ran out the back of the end zone for no reason. It was ridiculous. Just to cover a spread when he didn't have to. I forget the whole circumstances now. It was just like so ridiculous. You can't really trust sports anymore. Sometimes it's like a comedy show. So this is what makes people happy, gets people past the stress and the misery and the bad times in their life. Football, number one. My team is 1-0. But guess what? That don't mean nothing. Actually, my team I think we went 3. I want to say we went 3-1. If I ain't mistaken, we were doing good last year, and then we got a bye. Matter of fact, we went 3-0 last year, and then we got the early bye. I'm like, what the hell is this? Man, we came out that bye and got stomped the hell out. We came out that bye and got stomped the hell out. I think we lost it was ridiculous. The next 5 games or something like that. And within that time, our quarterback got hurt. Then our quarterback came, and he started throwing all these interceptions. Luckily, we made the damn playoffs, and we got beat. We won one game, and then we got beat in the second game. But it looked like we were going to do good. We got a good quarterback or whatever like that. He can throw some interceptions sometimes, but you just don't know what's going to happen, man. To me, I'll tell you what's going to happen. I see Kansas City back there in the Super Bowl. I don't know who's going to be in the Super Bowl out of the NFC. I can't picture it. I don't think the Eagles are going back. No, somebody's going to get hurt for the Eagles, what have you. Now, for Kansas City, it was, like last year, they kind of, Mahomes wasn't even in the MVP running, and he threw for a whole bunch of yards last year. I think, if I'm mistaken, I think they won the division, and I don't think they won the conference because I think the Ravens did. And they went up to Baltimore and beat the hell out of them in the second half. So, with the Kansas City Chiefs, they really don't have to prove nothing. They don't have to be 10-6. They don't have to be, or not 10-6. That's not a really good record. But they don't have to go and lose one game or just lose 2 games or just lose 3 games. They can go in there 10-6, which I don't know. The AFC is strong. I don't know if that's going to get you in a wild card, but for them, they can just get in the playoffs, right? And excel, because with them, it's going to be more about muscle memory. That's what it's going to be about more than anything. Muscle memory, if anything. But I just see him going back to the Super Bowl. That's what I see. And I don't know. It's hard for me to say because Jalen Hurts looked really good in that first game. He was doing his thing, and the Eagles looked really good. They fooled me. I thought Dallas was going to come out and just put the pedal to the metal to the pedal, whatever you want to say. I thought it was just going to be like that because Dallas has everything to prove. The Eagles coming off a championship, and it would be more like a letdown game. That really don't mean nothing for the Eagles. Not so much. The Cowboys found a way to screw that up. And yeah, I couldn't tell you, man. Maybe the Packers. Yep. Maybe the Packers make it. Maybe it's the Packers' year to come out of the NFC. They look pretty good. They put it, they put the Lions away, man. They didn't play around with the Lions. Like I said, just one game. But the Packers, they looked pretty good last year. If I'm mistaken, it was them, right, that went into Dallas and beat Dallas? If I'm mistaken. Or did Dallas come to, I think Dallas, they went to Dallas and beat Dallas. So yeah, that's pretty much that, man, for a little recap of the first week. It's pretty good. It's pretty good for week 1. That's a pretty good storyline. Some good matchups too. I ain't gonna lie about that, because last year I think everybody was at a griping point to where it was, the first the first so many weeks it was kind of boring. The NFL started out boring, so started out pretty good. They had some good to great matchups and stuff like that. They had some division games and stuff like that. So it came out pretty good. We can't ask for much more. It was some good games, some tight games too. We got the quarterback, I forget who was that, McDaniels or something like that, from Washington. He's going to be good. Got to look out for him. We got Stroud from the Texans. We got to look out for him. So you don't know, man. It's a good NFL coming up, man. As long as these guys could, do what they got to do. Running the ball is one thing. That's what they're good at doing. A lot of these quarterbacks, but they got to be able to make the pass also to make this entertaining. So they look pretty, like, a lot of these guys look like pretty good passers. So I'm not, gonna say it's not gonna work out in the future, them being running and throwing quarterbacks, because for the most part they've been looking good. So we'll see what happens.